Hey everybody, we're back for another episode. So we got glass. So let's take a look at that and take a look at what else we're gonna do this time.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
All right, windshield is in. Got a new seal on it. Not the greatest windshield. I mean, we got a little bit of D-lam going on down at the bottom, and it's got some scratches on it. But hey, it was cheap, and it's not cracked, and it's functional. So we're gonna go with it. Unless we do something crazy and paint this thing someday and replace other parts of the glass, which I'm not going to worry about. These side ones that are cracked, I'm not even going to replace them. We're just going to clean them up and use them. So anyway, the company that I bought the side glass from is sending me a new piece of side glass. Didn't get a delivery date on it, but I know it's coming, so that's good. So what I want to focus on, a couple of things today, is I want to get this back hatch, some things done to it, get it back on, and then this tailgate, all of these mechanisms are completely well, it kind of moves, not very good. And there's latches here and here, which I bought new ones off eBay a long time ago, new ones, used ones. So we're going to change those out. I want to get this tailgate working, and I want to get this back hatch where it'll close and latch. Now there's a gasket supposed to go around this thing. I don't have one, and I'm not going to worry about putting one on it right now. I don't see myself doing a lot of driving in the rain, but you can see what's left of the gasket. Maybe one of these days we get one of those. I don't know. We'll see. So this hatch actually did not come with this car. When I got this car, the guy told me, he's like, I lucked out and found this hatch laying on the ground in a junkyard. So we're gonna use it. It's pretty rough in some spots. You can see it's got some rust holes down here. I'm not gonna worry about trying to patch it everywhere. I think we're gonna take this chrome off, if I can get it off without hurting anything, and clean all this up and put some POR 15 on it. Just to stop it from rusting anymore, and we'll get rid of this old gasket stuff off here. And who knows, maybe someday we do something a little different with it. Like I said, if we ever paint the car, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen or not. I'm not going to worry about taking the glass out and replacing this gasket either for now. We're just going with what we got. Okay, so let me do a little cleaning on this thing. Let's see if we can get this chrome off of here. It kind of looks like the side pieces will come off without damaging it. I'm not sure how they attached in the first place. I mean, you got holes here, and then you got slots in the chrome there, so there was obviously some kind of something or other held those on, so we'll see what we can do with that. But anyway, let me get these ends apart and get all my parts together, and we'll see what we got. Alright, so I just went up and picked up some propane from my heater, and this thing has got a mess in it all of a sudden. Let's try the old heat gun trick and see what we get. 50 on that one. down, address that maybe tomorrow. All right, heat's going again. Now we're back to where we started. I fired the heater up and it ran for about 3 seconds and then went poof and ran out of fuel. So we'll look at the truck tomorrow and see what's going on with that. It's either a foul plug or a bad wire or something. So anyway, so I wire brushed this down real good with the drill, and this thing is just garbage. I mean, if we're gonna restore this, I think I've said a couple times on here already, this would have to be replaced and the tailgate would have to be replaced. But for now, we're gonna use it. I can't take this piece of chrome locks into this rubber strip down here. There's a groove in there, so if I was gonna take this chrome, this is hard as a rock. I can't take this chrome off without destroying this gasket, and I don't want to take the gasket off. I just want to leave it alone. So I wire brushed everything down. I took this stuff in a spray bottle and just soaked this groove down there. Just put puddles of it in there so it would run under that chrome, and hopefully, probably won't completely stop it, but really slow it down. So I think I've got some Pour 15 up here. Might have one little can left. Let's see what's in the old inventory. Aha! Last one. And it kind of sounds like maybe there's something in it. I don't know. We'll find out. What else is up here? There's some Pour 15 engine paint that we used on the 454. There's some Pour 15 header paint. That stuff works pretty good. I used that on what project did I use that on? No, I don't remember. Anyway, it worked pretty good. So let's let me pop this open, see if there's just all I need enough in here is just to kind of paint around the perimeter of this thing where the bad rust spots are. And I got some of the spray rust inhibitor. We can use some of that too, but I want to get this down in there. And so let me do that and we'll come back and see what we got. Oh yeah, we got plenty in there. Just couldn't hear it sloshing. So that's a bad thing about these little cans. You can't get a paintbrush down in them. Let me get a brush and we'll go over this thing. All right, just enough to paint that. And doesn't look the greatest, but it should do the trick as far as preservation. Dripped here somewhere. Here it is. Couple drips on there. That's all right. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. We're not gonna touch it, and I want to go back here and man, I hope these latches come apart. And I hope these come apart. These are really rough. And these are really rusty and stuck. So, let me see if we can get these off and get this whole assembly apart. This part looks like it was, yeah, this part kind of moves, sort of. Sort of, kind of. And it's moving a few things over here, just, and I don't know if that's supposed to be bent like that or if it's supposed to be straight like that. I guess we'll find out when we take that off there. All right, let me get this all apart and we'll lay it out on the bench and see what we got. All right, this is much easier than I thought. The actual button and the linkage on the gate, so you push the button in back here. Let me show you. There's a button on the handle under here that you push in. You can see that. It moves this guy. This part is reasonably free. I just need to put a little oil on that and I think it'd be okay. and that linkage was supposed to be bent like that. The part that wasn't moving was this. These little wheels was frozen solid. So a little bit of heat, a little bit of PB, and no problem. I think we throw that back in, we do the other side, and we lube up the inside of the handle on the gate. I think this thing's gonna work. So let's get the other one out and see what it looks like. All right, here's the other side. Same problem. I dropped my stupid can of PB blaster and broke the top off of it. A full can. That's irritating. Well, if you stick a screwdriver down in there, you can squeak some out. So I'm gonna do that for a while and throw a whole can away. I should just buy the non-aerosol kind and put it in a spray bottle. See if we can get this one to move. All the doors have these little star things too, and some of the doors don't really work, so I think we're gonna have to go through this exercise on the doors too. Which is fine. I'd rather do this than replace door latches. I like that. There we go. Starting to spin. I want it to spin freely with my finger. Not yet. Come on, loosen up. Clean this bench off. Getting there. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna shoot this right in my eye. That'll make for some good YouTube viewing. I need to look up that pole barn garage guy. He's pretty funny. He does some cool stuff, and he's here in Missouri. There we go. Now we got it. Okay, let me put that back in. See if we can lube up the mechanism on that button a little bit, and we'll see if that thing will close and open. Okay, so we got both latches free up. I did a little adjusting down here. You got these little, I call them a pawl. I don't know if that's the right name for them, but it's got the little hooky thing that the latches latch onto. So we did a little adjusting on those. I had to bust them loose. But on these old latches like this, slamming them is probably not the best thing to do. So I just hold the button in, push it shut, let the button out. She's latched. Push the button in, she's open. Probably a better way to do it than slamming it, because stuff's old. And you break the ends off of one of these things, and then, because that's just pot metal, and you're in deep doo-doo. So, I'm going to try to lube these hinges up a little bit more. I've tried it a couple times and just can't seem to get much lube in there. They're really stiff still. But so tomorrow we've got these latches that I bought off of eBay a while back, and these go here. They go right here, and then they latch. When you pull the gate down, the gate latches into this. So all the guts were missing out of them. I was able to find these on eBay. We just need to wire brush them up and clean them a little bit and figure out which way they go. And I think these are, I don't think these have linkage on them. I think they're just a little spring-loaded latch thing, and when you undo this and pull this, it like pops this in, pops this, I believe. So we'll work on that tomorrow. What else? I got some more blue paint for the rest of the trim inside. I ordered my computer programmer. So there's a company called Tweezer. There was two of them. There was one called Tweezer, and there was another one called Motes. And Motes made the quarter horse, which it's a, I think they call it a J3 chip. You program this chip, you plug it into the diagnostic port of the Ford engine controller, and it overrides the factory program with the programming you put in. So I did one of those on my 49 Plymouth that I had the SHO motor in. If you look at the beginning of my my intro on my videos, you can see that red 49 Plymouth. There's a few videos of that on there. But it worked pretty good. Had a few issues with it that I ended up going with a big block later. But anyway, so I ordered the programmer from Tweezer, and he needs some of the numbers off this PCM. So tomorrow we're going to pull that out of there. We're going to get the numbers we want off it, and he said to open it up and look at, there's some capacitors on the board that they say can swell up and cause various weird problems. So we're going to open it up and look at that too, and make sure we don't have to replace those while we're in there. But all right, we're cruising along, so we'll do that tomorrow. We'll get the ECM out. We'll finish the tailgate. I'll see if I can get somebody to help me lift this thing up and screw it on there. This thing is very heavy, and I got to find the bolts for it. But that's where we are for tonight, so we'll pick it up tomorrow. So I was working in Chicago this week, well, up near Chicago, and every night was below zero, and every day was like single digits. It's 25 here, and it feels like summertime. But I have this problem every year. Right here on my door to my garage. When we get a hard freeze, that blacktop lifts up like a couple inches. And then, that's as far as the door will open. Now, as soon as the temperature goes up, it goes away and comes back to normal. We're gonna deal with you today. So we gotta use this door. Probably for a couple of days. That's all right. Okay, so we're gonna get these guys on today. The hood open, gotta take the PCM out. This should be dry, yes. Pour 15 will dry. It doesn't care what the temperature is outside. So let's get those latches in the tailgate. Let's get the PCM out, get her info off this, and probably need somebody to help me lift this up there and screw it on. It's pretty heavy, but I think my buddy Bruce is coming by later today, so we'll deal with that. So all right, let's work on all that stuff and see where we're at. All right, we got one of them dudes on. That looks much better than that. All right, let me clean the other one up and we'll get it put on. And then I think we'll go ahead and undo the battery and pull the PCM out of this thing and open it up and take a look at the inside of that. Okay, so we got the PCM, EEC, whatever you want to call it. We got her out. So I took a picture of these numbers, and we'll send them to the guy over at Tweezer so he can, I think, do some base programming on that chip. I think that's how it works. But there's two things we want to look at in here. So you got a capacitor here, and you got a capacitor here. And what we're looking for, is there any evidence that they're swollen up or they're leaking? You know, you might see a little rust stain out the bottom of them if they're leaking, or if they're, like I said, if they're swollen up, they're round, so that should be easy to tell. And from what I can see, everything looks pretty good. So I'll send him a picture of that, and I'm not going to worry about it. So here is your J3 port. And you see that white? That's like I think that's like a lithium grease they put on there. You can pop this access cover out. And what we need to do is take a little bit of like carburetor cleaner or something and clean that grease off there, because that kind of insulates those terminals. And when we get that new chip, and we'll cover that on the video when we do that, and we dump our programming in there, we'll take that chip and it'll plug right onto here, onto the J3 port, and that will override the factory programming. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out anything emission related. You know, I got rid of all the EGR stuff on here, the fuel tank pressurization stuff, that's going to go away. I'm not going to change anything on the fuel map. I'm just going to basically run stock 4.6 programming for Lincoln Town Car, because I want it to be a cruiser. I'm not trying to make it fast. I'm not going to change shift points. We're not going to mess with any of that stuff. Just anything we need to do so we're not running into problems with check engine lights or going into limp mode or anything like that. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. I'll go ahead and clean this guy up, and I think I could probably go ahead and reinstall this because we reached this from the back, so that's not a big deal. We'll be able to plug that chip on once we get that in there. So let me go ahead and clean this guy up, put the lid back on it, we'll put it back in the car, and see where we're going to go from there, and I'll send these pictures off to Mike. All right, a little break before lunch here. I thought I'd go ahead and pull the plug out of this thing and see what's going on. So, I mean, it's pretty fouled. Also, this is an R44T, and that electrode is way down in that thing. I kind of always preferred these R43TS plugs. You can kind of see how the electrode's up a little bit more. Look at that side by side. It's not as shielded. You got a little more of it sticking out on this one. So let's go ahead and stick this plug in here, and then I had some other wires in there. I just pulled one of those off. We'll go ahead and change the wire too. This one had a bunch of mud daubers on it. So let's see if we can get this cylinder fired. Okay, so we changed that plug, changed that wire. Now let's fire this thing up and see what it sounds like. Now that sounds like an 8-cylinder. Alright, so I guess we just had a foul plug, and I'm kind of thinking that's probably from when I had that old Q-jet on it and that thing was running pig rich. It probably loaded that plug up. I wouldn't doubt if the rest of them are just as bad. So I probably need to change the rest of them since I got a whole set, but I'm not going to mess with doing that today. We'll do that later. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I like the, like I said, I like the R43TS plug a little better for these small block Chevys. So let me clean that up. Buddy Bruce came by and we got the hatch on, so we need to clean this up. And we have a working tailgate and hatch again. I'm very happy about that. So I think what we're going to do here is, I think I might start cleaning the inside of this thing. And I've got another tube of seam sealer. We need to hit a few things back here and get the dust out of there. And let's maybe go ahead and, I don't know if I'm going to start putting that stuff down or if I want to work on these door handles, because a bunch of these door latches, they just, well, that actually worked. Yeah, we'll do one of the two. So I'm gonna grab some lunch and then we'll get back on it here. All right, I went ahead and changed the rest of my plugs because it's 50 degrees out here and the sun's out and it's supposed to be down in the 30s and cloudy tomorrow, so I figured I might as well do it. So went ahead and stuck all plugs in there. She runs so much better. Every one of them the same thing. A lot of carbon on them, look like from really rich mixture, I think from that old Quadrajet. And I had a new set of plugs in that 454. I just took them out of that and stuck them in there. So that's done. Anyway, I went through here. Like I said, we got the hatch back on. I got the hatch holder on, got that working good. Went through here, vacuumed the whole car, got a bucket of hot bleach water, and just went through and wiped everything down because we had dust everywhere in this thing. And I was worried if I started sticking that insulation down on that dust, it wouldn't stick. So went ahead and did that. We're gonna let that dry. Also went through and just cleaned all the door jambs while I had that bucket of water. Tops of the doors, sides of the doors. You know, we didn't worry about fixing any rust, just get the old grease and dirt and crud out of them. And so when we, we'll clean up these latches and get them working right. But I'm gonna let this sit, probably let this sit overnight and dry. And then maybe tomorrow we'll get to putting that insulation down. I've actually gotten the carpet, it's here. So I just didn't want to be, like when you shut the doors, be throwing junk on the new carpet. So I want to wait till I get some more things done on the inside before I actually put the carpet down. So we got latches to do. I've got the trim that goes across the top of the dash. We need to clean that up. There it is. You can see that's pretty rusty. There's a couple of pieces of that. I need to get these cleaned up and up there. So This actually had a rubber piece on it. We're not going to put that back on, but we'll get those done and get that on there. And we're rolling right along here, so I guess that's going to be it for today. And then when we come back, we'll either be working on door latches, or I might go ahead and get the insulation stuck down so that even if it gets some dust on it, I can vacuum that before we put the carpet on top of it. So maybe we'll do some of that tomorrow. All right, well, we'll be back on it a little later. All right, so here's what I did yesterday. I went through and just cleaned all this stuff up and painted it. I didn't film it because you saw us do that batch, so we just did the same thing with this batch. I'm almost done with the trim. I got like a few more pieces to do. I got the door tops to do, and then I got these B-pillar covers to do. A lot of this stuff is extra. Some of the old headliner stuff we're not going to mess with. And I'll tell you what, with these door tops, you can see where the rust goes right up to that door sweep line. These door sweeps are in good condition. I'm not going to mess with replacing them, but I think I thought about painting around that, just tape that. But that rust is here, it's down behind there. So I'm just going to go ahead and, you can see they're stapled on there. I can't imagine what kind of stapler they use to staple through metal. But I'm going to go ahead and cut them staples off, and we're going to take these off and clean that up and paint them. And then I'll just take some some little number 6 screws and screw them back on. So I don't like hidden rust if I can easily avoid it, so we're gonna do that. So back here, let's take a look at it. I think we are done with the tailgate, and I am pretty happy with the way it came out. So we got the inner panel back on, we got the little chrome strips back on. You know, rust proofed us, painted it. I mean, it's pitted, but we treated it. It's going to be okay. We got the top piece back on, and it seems like it's moving easier than it was before. It's latching, and the top right on, man. That works good. It does, I don't have the gasket for it, which I don't know if I'm ever going to mess with doing that or not, but it is what it is. So, and then to open it, you just pop that out, and then this guy goes back up, and that little dude catches it. So, all right, well, I got the heat on in here. I want it to warm up a little bit. And then I think we're going to go ahead and start cutting this not Dynamat, whatever mat, and start sticking that stuff down. And I want to go ahead and get that stuck down while everything is vacuumed. We got all the dust out of it. And then I've got plenty of stuff to start putting back together. So we're going to start putting some of this inner trim back on. Like I said, we're not messing with the headliner. We're just going to stick the trim on. I've got my glove box to put back together. I got my ashtray to put back together. We'll get all that trim back on, and then we'll work on those door tops. I'm still waiting for my upholstery. I keep getting these regional weather delay alerts from the post office on my upholstery, so it's not really doing anything around here. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know if anybody else out there is getting that, but anyway, that's what we're going to do. And let me get some of that done, and we'll come back and take a look, see what it looks like. Okay, so I did not have enough of this stuff to do the whole car, but I got to the back seat anyway. So I had a couple different kinds. This stuff I ordered, and the foam stuff I had left over from another project, and the sticky's not real great on it because it's been sitting around here forever, but we're going to use it anyway. So dash is all back together. You can see all the trim is on, all the way around the windshield. Rear view mirrors on, glove box doors on. It works. Ashtray is back in. So whenever you're doing these, there is a lot of different types of screws and lengths of screws. And probably the smart thing to do is label them, but I didn't. I just threw them all in a bag. So what I did is I just went through and sorted them all and matched them all up together and then counted them. And it's like, okay, well, I got these many of this screws and I got these many of this holes. That's probably the ones that go in there. And that worked out pretty well. So over here, this was a 5-gallon bucket, half full of junk. So that's what we're down to. All this stuff has got going back on the car. So I've got all my door handles separated here. We got to polish all these, even though the plastic's kind of falling apart. We're still going to polish them and use them. Clean these little guys up. I got the springs. They're in pretty good shape. This is the mechanism for the back seat. We'll clean it up and paint it. All of these armrests, yeah, that one's got a few cracks in it, but they're in pretty good shape. I'm just going to clean them up and reuse them. What else? Oh, the right sensor came in for my coolant temperature sensor, so we're going to swap that out. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is let's go ahead and get the carpet out and just see how it fits. I'm going with contrasting colors in here because trying to match everything the same color is tough to do, which my wife pointed that out to me, and it's pretty smart. So we're doing navy blue on the a dark navy blue on the carpet and the seats and the door panels, and then it'll kind of contrast with the light blue. So I think that's going to look pretty good. There was a key stuck in the old ignition switch when I got this, and it will not open any of these doors. So I sure would like to get some keys to this thing. I may have to figure that out yet, but let me go get the box carpet. We'll open it up and see what it looks like. Okay, so this carpet has a pretty good jute backing on it, so I probably didn't even need this stuff, but we had it, so we used it anyway. I'm not sure if this is in 2 pieces or if it's in 1. It's in 2, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of lay it out and let it sit here and relax. Oh, I like that color. Good choice, sweetie. This is company is this from? OCC, I think. Auto Custom Carpets, Inc. And it's like it's made pretty good here. You got a little cutout here for the steering column. So I'll kind of use that for my gauge of where it goes. I already see I'm going to have to notch around the Lincoln accelerator pedal, which is not a big deal. I just want to lay it out, let it sit here for a few days out of the box and kind of relax. I'm probably not going to glue it down. Well, I may change my mind on that. We'll see. All right, let me get a razor blade. I want to notch around that. I got carpet from these folks before, and it worked out pretty well. Delivery time was good. I think it about 4 days after I ordered it. 3 days after I ordered it. Thing I don't have is front sill plates. I got the back ones. I don't have any front ones. So we might just make something. Get this up to where that notch is on the steering column. Just go over a little bit. Yeah, that fits nice. Fits nice, and I like the color. Let's see how the back fits. I'm hoping next video we're going to start tearing the seat apart and recovering it. So I'm going to do front and back to this thing. I'm going to cover the front seat and then do the door panels so I can drive the thing. And then we'll delve into the back seat. Okay, it seems to be pretty good form fitting as far as the floor pans, which is good because you remember this thing has Lincoln Town Car floor pans in the back and homemade ones in the front, so we must have done a pretty good job of making floor pans. I probably need another roll of that insulation stuff for back here because the carpet does not come back that far, and that's what we got. No big deal, we'll do that. Okay, so I guess we're going to end that in this video here, and said I'm not going to mess with that right now. What else do we got to do as far as, we know we got to do as far as trim. Oh, at some point, I need to clean this thing up and paint it. This goes over the back, and man, it is nasty. Peel all that junk off there. We'll just wire brush it down. There's a few spots where it's rusted through. I'm just going to take a cut-off wheel and cut them out and spray up in there. That one ain't as bad on the back. But we want to get this to where it's usable. All right, so let's get a word from the Lord, and we're going to call it there. Hey everybody, thanks for coming along on today's video. So a lot of good stuff getting done, I think, and I'm pretty happy that we're getting close to a road trip on this thing. And I think I mentioned I talked to the guy that is going to send me the programmer and the chip and all that for the ECM. I think we got that lined out, so we're rolling right along here. Shooting for the end of February that we're roadworthy. So let's see if that actually happens or not. Okay. As far as a message, so yesterday our pastor and one of our music pastor and their wives are traveling abroad on vacation. So our pastor is, I'm not sure of his title, one of our younger pastors gave the message. Very good message. And he was talking about when we come across what seems like impossible, I got my notes here, impossible circumstances in our faith, who do we turn to? And he gave the example, which I thought was great, of Abraham. Because as we know, God came down to Abraham and he said, I want you to sacrifice your son Isaac on the mountain. And that must have been mind-blowing. I can't imagine God asking me to sacrifice my children, even though there's been times in my life where it probably would have been easier than other times, the way they acted, but I still love them anyway. So, I'm sure Abraham was highly distraught, but he trusted God, and he got all the stuff together, and he's going to go up on the mountain, and he's telling Isaac, we got to get the firewood together, we got to get all this stuff together to go up and do a sacrifice, and Isaac is, like, okay, we got the firewood and we got the stuff for the altar, but where's the sacrifice? And Abraham says God will provide. So what a picture of obedience, that Abraham would trust God that this was going to turn out right. So then they get up to the mountain, and as we read, it just says Abraham bound Isaac. Now, to me, if you tried to grab your kid and tie him up and put him on an altar, they're going to fight and scratch and kick and do everything they can to get away. But we don't see that in there. We see some obedient submission from Isaac. And, a couple of the points here where Abraham was a picture of faithful obedience, Isaac was a picture of faithful submission. And I won't read the verses here, but it's Genesis 21, 1 through 19 is what we're looking at. And then we see that because of Abraham's obedience, his willingness to be obedient to God, even when it seemed like a crazy thing to do, and because of Isaac's obedience to his father, that God said, no, don't harm your son, and he provided a ram for the sacrifice. So we see that the Lord was a provider through faithful promises. And was it a tough test? It was a very tough test, but Abraham passed, and when we get those tough tests in our life, I've talked a lot on this channel about when we're dealing with a loved one with an illness, or maybe our own illness, and we stay faithful even though we don't know the answer. The answer may be God is going to heal. The answer may be God is going to heal, but the healing is the passing on to the next life. So just some wonderful passages and a great lesson there. And just to wrap it up, when those impossible circumstances come, we need to look to Jesus. And that was awesome. And Brother Darren, I appreciate you delivering this message yesterday. Associate Pastor of Discipleship. That's what Darren is. So I hope you can apply that message to your own life. Take a look at those passages. Great stuff. Let's have a quick word of prayer and we'll be done. Father, I thank you for today. I thank you for the men and women who serve in our church and at churches around the world, and faithfully work to deliver your message and help us to deal with these with circumstances like this. And we just ask that you would give us those qualities, the quality of obedience, the quality of submission when we need it, even when we don't understand what you're asking us to do. And we ask this in the precious name of your son, Jesus. Amen. All right. Hit like, hit subscribe, leave a message. Next video, I am hoping we're going to be tearing a seat down and trying to do some upholstery, or we'll be doing something else. But we'll be working on this. So catch you on the next one.